Are we live? We're doing it. TPB crew is live.
Technology does what it says it should do.
There you go. It's always a bonus, isn't it? Love
Yeah.
it when technology comes together.
Yeah. Hey
Awesome.
man, how good's the nice t-shirt there? What's up?
Oh, look at that, brothers.
How good?
So good. I actually, it's good. We've got a good stack of like 20 of them in the office because this is my other shirt, and I thought I can't go on the live with my white shirt on there. So
Of course not.
grab another one from the box.
As if people didn't know the difference between us already. So for anybody that's tuning in, this is the first time that you're in our community, first time potentially watching this. Cam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Cam Upton here, marketing manager for TPB. Also help a lot of our members with their marketing strategies, tactics, getting more leads for their business too.
100%. And crikey, you must have if we were just looking at getting leads for residential construction and the contract value of that, you'd probably be up around the $1 billion mark at the moment, right?
Well, yeah, man, it definitely adds up when it's 500 grand a lead and whatnot for home extension or a addition. You're damn right, adds up pretty quickly. So I should start tallying that up. It'd be a pretty good number.
Yeah, 100%. And if anybody's tuning in and hasn't seen my mug yet, my name is Owen Chambers, General Manager here at Professional Builder. We help great builders build great businesses. So we've got a good treat in store for you today, guys. We want to unpack and kind of dive a couple of layers deeper on a case study that we shot with a member from the Hutt Valley. This is actually a couple of months back, okay, so it's a little bit dated, but the principles and the tactics and the things that we're going to unpack today 100% still apply. So let me make sure that the technology here works. We're just going to jump across and start working.
Yeah, and just a bit of backstory on these guys. They were, when they first came to us, they were on the smaller side of things, doing some really small kitchen, bathroom, smaller renovations, decks, fences, that kind of thing. And really quickly, I think the average contract size was around sort of 20 to 30K. And, one of the biggest things we identified is that, they were both working as a team far too hard for far too small a paycheck, and all too common, like working too hard in the business, far too many hours, and just a few pivotal things that we managed to switch with them got a real drastic result. So got their average dollar sale around the 200 to 300K mark at the moment. It means they can do less jobs, make more money on it, less stress, less project management, less admin, less invoicing. Takes away a lot of that time and stress involved with it, but still a growing business. So yeah, got the technology up there.
Yeah, looks to be working. We love working with these members, so let's jump right into it, and we can pause and play as we go to unpack things with you guys.
Yep.
G'day, matey. We're a local business in the Hutt Valley, service the Hutt Valley area. We specialise in major renovations, alterations, and additions. Predominantly, I was in labour.
I just want to stop straight away. So we love our members from Wellington. Nikki and Corey here are perfect members, I would say, because we look for people that we partner with who are either looking to fill a time gap or a knowledge gap. And we helped them with both these things. They knew where they wanted to go. They had a good idea of the business they wanted to build, but they wanted to do it faster. We helped them do that. And full credit to them as well. They worked the plan, they did the work, they ticked off the strategies, and they they put the grind in, and they got the results. And full credit to these guys as we go through this stuff. But I've stopped here for a reason, and that site sign is awesome. Okay. Now a lot of people, when they do their site signs, they go, "I want it to look sexy. I want it to be branding," and they just put their logo on it.
Yep. Doesn't do anything for anyone, right? So many elements you've got to tick off when doing marketing in general, but especially doing your site signage, if this is what you want to do, and you should be chucking these on the sites that you're working on. So straight off the bat there, right at that top right-hand side, pictures of the owners, know, like, and trust. How many times have you dealt with a company, let's say Amazon.com? Sure, everyone knows Jeff Bezos, but if you get on the line with customer service, who are you going to talk to? Anyone, right? You don't know who, they're just a faceless corporation. So if you're going to look at, renovating your home, you know that you're going to be talking, or, based from the sign, you're going to be talking to Nikki or Corey straight at the top of that sign just there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else we got on?
Yeah, 100%. So the next big thing there is we've got a huge picture of the type of work that they do and a really nice open-ended question. Okay. So that positions them as in their niche, as an authority in their niche. Okay. So you can see that they do excellent work. And the big goal here is to make sure that you are specializing in the kind of work that you do, and they've chosen this sign here to go on a renovation and addition here. They've got their website there, and they've got a call to action and an email address there. Nikki, that's pretty obviously Nikki up in the top right corner. Okay, so we love this sign. We want signs that generate you leads, don't just generate you, the warm fuzzies of having put a site sign up and ticked a box. We want ones that actually create an ROI for you and generate you leads. And these types of signs that position you as an authority in your niche are the kind of signs that do that.
Yeah. And just quickly before you jump in, do you one better on that, and you don't even have to pay for these as well. You see there's a couple of logos on the bottom left-hand side there. Those are from associations that they're a part of. But if you were to put on the bottom there some of your local merchants or hardware stores, you can then go to them and say, hey, I'm going to put these on all my sites. I think you should pay for them. And they'll go, yeah, that's free advertising for me. And they'll pay for your site signage too. So it might only be a couple $100 per sign, but it's money you don't have to spend along the way.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes members do this with their info packs as well, and their WOW information. Their WOW information packs, getting their suppliers and their subs to fund their activity. So we won't go too deep into this because if you want a little bit more, then go to the membership site. In all honesty, all the trainings are there, and you can unpack it there.
Yep.
Labour-only building for a lot of years, 18 years I suppose, roughly. So Nikki and I moved into doing full contract stuff now.
At the moment, Corey and I are the management team, so I take care of the marketing and the team, keeping the culture pumping and everybody happy in their role. Corey's project managing and sales, and also a little bit on-site stuff, keeping an eye on the boys. Got 2 builders at the moment and 2 apprentices and a labourer.
Before most of it was new builds, labour and new builds. Now it's more full contract alteration additions, predominantly, yeah. So that's the biggest change, going from myself and the apprentice to now on the tools obviously, to now just project managing and managing the guys, and then doing sales visits, pricing, and all that sort of carry on that comes along with main contracts.
You're going to stop that one there, and some really good points along there. And I'm sure I just saw from the look on your face some really good stuff as well. Fully transparent. I haven't watched this video in since we released it, so a little bit rusty on it. But it's always good to pick up new things from there. A couple of things from that I picked up. When he first started, he was on the tools with the apprentice, doing everything himself. Okay, and I think we've spoken about this before. But if you want to model successful people and what they're doing, they're not on the tools. They hire people that can do that skill for them and do it well, and project manage and supervise that. But he's now project manager and sales, all right? And really, really critical part of the business is sales, marketing, and project management, rather than being the person doing the work. And he's now got those people slotted into the role with the KPIs and KPAs for them to be held accountable, and obviously allowed him to then go and sign bigger jobs and grow the business while the team on site were doing that for him. So just thought I'd chuck that feedback in there.
100%. Corey is a perfect example of somebody who has delegated to elevate. So when we talk about you on your business journey, and maybe you're here, wherever here is, for Nikki and Corey, it was doing labour-only contracts. And when you want to get up here, wherever this might be for you, for a lot of the members, it's what we call your business maturity date, your quote-unquote finish line for the business. The big milestone for Nikki and Corey was to full contract off tools. Okay, and that's a goal that a lot of members that join us have. Okay, other people have different business maturity dates. Maybe they want to structure their business for sale. They want to structure a buy-in. Maybe they want to have multiple locations. Maybe they want to only work 2 days a week. It's entirely different for everybody. But wherever you are, and wherever you want to get to, you're not going to only have to acquire new skills, but you're also going to have to stop doing certain things that aren't going to help you get to where you want to get to. All right, and for Corey, it was moving off the tools and delegating some of the repeating and recurring tasks to his team so that he could do a better job of the more important tasks, of the high margin activities, things like pricing, positioning, sales, marketing, project management, controlling labor, materials, sub-trades, not missing any variations, and negotiations with subs, merchants, and suppliers. Okay, so when we talk about delegate to elevate, we talk about getting rid of and leveraging yourself from site with the repeating and recurring tasks. Making sure that you have a team, just like Corey's got here. Okay, you train and retain that team well. And I think Corey and Nikki are going to unpack how they do that in just a moment. but Corey did a fantastic job of leveraging himself from site. Then, with that extra time, what he didn't do was just kind of get sucked back in or stay in the doldrums of working on things that kept him nice and busy but weren't particularly productive. He elevated himself to work on high margin activity. And high margin activity are activities that improve your front end margin and improve your back end margin. And the 9 margin levers that we attack immediately is just the lowest hanging fruit. They're not an exhaustive list, but it's the lowest hanging fruit of our 9 margin levers. And like I said before, that's pricing, positioning, sales and marketing. That's controlling labor, materials and sub-trades, variations, material rates, payment dates with the subs, suppliers and merchants. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that, and we have in the past in some of our other videos. So scroll back and look at some of our other videos if you want us to unpack margin. But let's continue on here, because I love hearing from Nick and Corey. I've said it already, but I love these guys.
Apprentice to now on the tools, obviously, to now just project managing and managing the guys, and then doing sales visits, pricing, and all that sort of carry on that comes along with main contracts.
A lot of changes, to be honest. We didn't have a website. We'd used one before in the past and it was terrible and couldn't make any changes to it, and now have a good website up and running. Facebook, we're doing a lot of Facebook marketing at the moment. A big problem we had about a year ago was a bit of obscurity. No one knew who we were, what we did. Awesome at what we did, but just no one knew about us. So spent a lot of time marketing and doing some Facebook posts.
Cam, you helped them a little bit with their marketing, didn't you? I think from memory, you did an over-the-shoulder coaching session, you did a couple of other lives, a couple of one-on-ones, unpacked the strategy with them, and then walked them through step-by-step the actual implementation and process with them. Some of their results were epic, like we've kind of already touched on them, but for example, they went from labor only to full contract. They had a pipeline that gave them confidence to be able to hire the right kind of guys for Corey to step off the tools and into that new role of project management sales. And you gave Nikki the framework to know what to execute at what point to get results. So do you want to walk us through any of those parts of what worked for them and how you did it?
Yeah, 100%. So a couple of things that obviously you touched on there is and she mentioned as well, obscurity. No one knew who they were or what they did. So one of the biggest things, obviously, you can't sell a secret, right? So you actually have to be putting your name out there and telling people what you do and telling people how you can help them, and making offers, more importantly. So one of the big things that people do when they mention social media is that they're just putting random posts up about their dog and things like that. You need to be making offers to people, okay? And the best way to do that is through social media, online ads, your website. You could do it offline with flyers and postcards. You do strategic alliances. So many different ways to do it. But for these guys, the biggest one that we made a difference was the website and the online marketing. Okay, so first we start off with some really quick fire strategies. We do the TPB quick grab, and that's all about getting leads today. All right, and get leads tomorrow, the next day. Really, really cheap, but it's not a long-term strategy. And the point of that one is to get that one live while you work on other things like getting the website up, then move to a few more longer term strategies, okay, which are going to feed you for the next sort of 6 to 12 months, and then move to sort of kick back a bit and let the relationships and the long-term marketing work for you. Okay, so we like to layer these different marketing avenues on each other so that they work from day dot. Okay, you get the results from within the next 24 hours for a lot of our members. And then obviously once we get that stuff moving and getting some leads locked in and some work locked in, then we move to those longer term strategies. So a lot of help that we sort of spoke about with Nikki, did a few sessions with, and sort of went through some of the trainings and templates that we had, and proofs in the pudding as to what they were getting there.
I love, so you're bang on, like we layer those strategies, short term, mid term, long term, don't we? So short term, what can we help you with and fill your pipeline with some immediate leads today? Midterm, what can we work on that's going to fill the calendar with some filler jobs, or next 6 to 12 months, and then long term, what can we have a process and a system that delivers us consistent, reliable, qualified leads of the right kind for what you want to do, so that you can book your calendar 12 months plus, and so that you're able to then have the confidence to bring on team But what we also need to do is we need to do the mathematics and the economics around it, right? Because we cannot be just throwing money into a bottomless pit of online advertising or social media, or SEO or any of this crap. We need to be making sure that for every dollar we put in, we're getting a big return on that investment, because marketing is an investment, and with any investment, you should be looking for the best return possible, right?
So pro tip real quick before we move on, if anybody ever sends you a quote, like one I got through from one of the members this week, said, hey, Cam, can you take a look at it? And they mentioned the word branding more times than I can count. The figure at the bottom was around the $70,000 mark. Okay, nearly fell off my chair. Just steer clear, right? Branding is not a thing that you need to focus on when you're a small business. If you're Coca-Cola, it's a different story. But branding is something for the bigger guys. We need to work on direct response. We want to know every dollar we put in, how many dollars we're going to get back, okay? So that's the only thing we focus on to obviously get a return on that dollar. So
100%. All right. So once you've generated the leads, what happens to the sales process? So question here on screen, what changes have you made to your sales process?
Yeah, the sales process has been good. Well, yeah, we didn't have one whatsoever. No marketing, no sales. So although the sales process is not complete, we do have something that we follow now. So from when our customers make initial inquiries on our online website forms and bits and pieces like that, to then going down to who's doing what. So Nikki will start with the marketing, it gets carried down to me. I'll do an on-site consultation with our clients or prospects and work through there until it goes over to pricing and so on.
Some of that's actually been updated in some of our more recent trainings with the automation and other things as well. So we should probably look back and help them update that. Cam, I might just make a note.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
Because we were doing labour rate, I wasn't doing a lot of pricing at all, but right out the gate I was not sure how it was all going to go, to be honest. Pretty wary about doing pricing at all with customers. We weren't too sure whether they were in the financial position to even do some of the work. Probably one of the biggest things through TPB is we're now charging you for our quotes. We do that sort of job by job. We have a look at it, and that's a way to see how committed the clients are. So we're not wasting too much time pricing for people that probably aren't quite ready or aren't in a financial position to do the projects they would like to do.
So really quickly there, stop for 10 seconds and just go, charging for quotes, right? We're getting commitment from the client, okay? The first thing people are going to say is, you can't charge for quotes. Everyone else does them for free, okay? That's why we back it up one step to what we just mentioned, is that we're doing our marketing and then we're getting the lead flow come through so you have confidence that you've got the deal flow. Then you're putting them through the sales process that they didn't have, that they plug and played our sales process into their business, okay? With the phone scripts, with the with the questionnaires, with the everything else we go through with that sales process there to qualify people, okay? It means you're only dealing with people that are not going to waste your time. When you charge for those quotes, you're getting commitment, and obviously everyone else that hasn't come through that process would have wasted your time anyway. You would have done a free quote and you would have been sitting on your hands, would have just wasted a couple of days worth of work pricing that job. So it all works in conjunction with each other.
Yeah, 100%. The first two headlines of the sales module on the accelerator program is the 3 micro commitments, right? Charging for your professional services is one of those 3 micro commitments, and the other one is oh my gosh, I just mind blanked entirely. 3 micro commitments. And oh yes, you're right, you can't charge for quotes. That's why we don't charge for quotes. You charge for your professional services. There's a difference between giving a free quote and you charging for your quote. We're not comparing apples with apples here. You're creating an offer that is different to a charging for quotes, okay? So the second module of the of the sales process in the accelerator is you can't charge for your quotes.
A lot, yeah. We've always been really motivated people and passionate about what we do, but 12 months ago it was busy being busy, flat out, but just a lack of direction. So now we've got that clarity, we're even more laser focused on where we want to be, and that in turn that gives you a lot of confidence. So
yeah, it's huge. The last 12 months, which is about when we joined you guys at TPB, I do a lot of reading bits and pieces as well. So, you know, on sort of business and mindset and stuff like that. But having the resources now, you can sort of help you have that motivation is good, but then using the resources that you guys have got just helps give some clarity about what we're going to do. It is still really hard. There's a lot of work that's got to go into it, but at least it gives you, you sort of mapped out what you've got to do. So if you commit the time to it, we're starting to see the rewards from those efforts.
More confident, and we can see that our team are behind us as well. We're really picky with who we have on board and only have like-minded people. They can see that we're driven and focused to provide an awesome environment for them and an awesome result for our clients. So it just makes the whole team work together in the same direction.
Okay, I can add a bit to that too. Yeah, I know it's definitely on site with our guys. In the past, it was sort of I was brought up in the days where you sort of did what you were told to do, and that was it. But no, not quite like that anymore. And now it's about good relationship building with your guys. And now I'm 100% confident when I walk away from site. Our guys are working just as hard, if not harder, when I'm away from the site now. So it's pretty encouraging, and that's from all the work that Nicky and I have done into making sure the environment's right, investing in the guys, taking the guys to the rugby and stuff like that. And
Action. So there's a lot of hard work involved, but you can't just do it in little bits when you feel like it. It's a consistent process, and when you can start seeing traction and the ball's rolling and you can see the benefits that you're getting from the work that you're putting in, then it just snowballs and you can just see that you're going to succeed even further.
just what you said, actually, that professionalism. Like all our guys are kitted the same uniform. So when the customers see that, there's this massive trust there. They know that that the guys were just this big team. I talk a lot actually to our team about the guy that's labouring to the guy that's doing the sales, the pricing. They're all equal. There's no difference. So everyone feels that, and including the customers. I think when you seem to be communicating and working with your team on that level, the customers it builds this real know-like trust about your business.
Stop you there real quick, Owen. One of the common things we've noticed across all of these case studies, all of these success stories we have with members is they all say the same thing around, we just look so professional now in the client's eyes. Hence the name, the professional builder, right? It seems to come across with everything that we do. Does the client see all the stuff that you implement and turns you into more of a professional businessman or business person, okay? If you've got quality assurance checklists, if you've got the team all rowing in the same direction, if you've got the communication pattern with them, all of these things, really stack up to make you a professional builder, okay? Hence the name, hence what we're working towards is helping everyone, builders become professional builders and more appropriately businessmen, right? Not just a builder.
100%.
Yeah, so on the numbers side of things, we used to do sort of $30,000 to $40,000 labour only jobs. That would take, again, just myself, that might have taken us sort of 4 months to do, something like that, approximately. Where now our projects would be somewhere around the 250 to 300k type jobs now, full contract jobs. I use a pricing system that generates a 20% margin in all our pricing. We have a turnover goal of 1.3 million from April this year to April next year, with a 20% margin, which is a 260k gross profit. So that's our goal, and also working with our accountant monthly closely to make sure we're tracking in the right direction with that as well.
20% margin minimum. Your GP should always be between 20 to 25%. Expenses 8 to 12. Net profit 10 to 15. Write it down, know it, look at it every month, and if you need help, get some help.
I've spent the last 9 months, I suppose, putting a lot of information. I'm using CoachStruct to do all my pricing, but I've had to take all the pricing from different trades and suppliers and put it all in there. So it's not something you can buy off the shelf. I mean, the software you can, but not the way that I've built it into there. And because we're just doing our first major project, it's not until that's going to be finished that we can back cost through that, seeing the hours. Because we also, the guys use a time clock system. So we've invested in phones for all the guys, and they clock in and clock out, and it's all GPS and that sort of carry on. So at the end of the job, we'll be able to go back through that system and check all the hours on each job.
Controlling your labor. Remember I said one of the 5 back-end margin strategies, controlling labor, materials, subtrades, variations, negotiations. Those are the 5 lowest hanging pieces of fruit. What Corey's talking about there is tracking, controlling labor. That's going to have a huge impact on profitability. It means that the 20% going in almost certainly can guarantee that there'll be little to no margin creep. So it comes out at 15. There should be margin gain. Comes out at 22, 23 on a fixed price contract.
A few years ago, everything was on paper, folders everywhere, and I had great pleasure a few weeks ago just chucking it all in the shredder bin. So felt so good after that, eh? So now everything's in the cloud. So when we are away from home and do payroll, everything, invoicing, everything under the sun can be all done mobile. So that's huge for us. Another good benefit is Corey was working nearly 6-7 days a week, really, and late nights too. So that's massively reduced. So it's generally just your normal work hours. He'll do the odd sales meeting at night. In terms of confidence, yeah, again, a lot happier in ourselves, and then that has a roll-on effect to our kids. So we not only want to be successful in our business, but successful in our family life too, and that is evident with the kids. So we want to be present.
Yeah, well, like you said, I was working those long days, weekends, and I still actually am. I'm still working those times, but I'm not physically anymore. So it's not on the tools as well. And then have to come in price. So I'm doing all my pricing in the morning, so I do get up pretty early and then get that out of the way, and then head off to do my management stuff. But yeah, I'm exercising 5 days a week pretty much. I'm able to do that now. So because I get up in the mornings and do my paperwork, I get out and exercise before I hit the sites, and it puts me in a massive positive frame of mind. Whether it's with the customer or the employees, it's huge, makes a huge difference. Just sets your day up.
Yeah, real quick there, Owen. Going to tap that button. So you need to look after yourself first and foremost. The amount of people we speak with who have been doing this 20, 30 years on the tools, it's hard on the body, right? As you get older, it doesn't get any easier, right? Rolling out of bed, you're feeling stiff, you need to use the heat packs later on at night, go to the physio to deal with injuries and things like that. So you need to be looking after yourself, working fewer hours, okay? So one of the first things we do is get your time back, right? One of the first things, regardless of the program you jump on, all about getting your time back, and that's going to vary across where you're currently at as to the exercises that you do, but we always go through that freedom finder to get your time back so that then you can focus on your health and wealth. Like Corey's saying, gets the key, high value tasks done in the morning, like the pricing, and then that's obviously money generating, then gets out some exercises because now's the time to look after his body, and then he can run through in the rest of the business. No point stacking that at the end of the day. Otherwise, if something goes wrong on site, that delays everything. You don't get the key money generating activities done in the evening. So all about stacking your day in the right way and ultimately looking after yourself as well.
Yeah, 100%. Bottom of the builder's ladder is physical, mental fitness. Don't take care of that. Cash flow, margin, profitability, team, systems, hiring, firing, your BMD, sales, marketing. It's all redundant. Because if you're not right, the rest of it's built on a shaky foundation. So 100%.
Not to think that they're alone, or they're the only people like that, and be embarrassed about not knowing everything. Everybody doesn't know everything, so go to people like TPB who fully focus on builders. So we've had coaches before in the past that was real general across all professions, and we really felt that we needed specialists, so that's why we went to TPB. Yeah,
very similar to Nikki. Obviously with the TPB career, being specialist on the building coaching sort of stuff is perfect. But probably bigger for me too is I really like the one-day events. I actually love them, getting up there and getting around talking to the other builders. I can really I can relate to them, and actually hearing some of their challenges, like, man, I'm actually my challenges aren't actually as much as I thought they were, right? So. And talking to people that, we're still pretty early as well, but there are people that are even a little bit fresher than us. Being up there at the one-day events, there's people that are sort of a bit further ahead of us, so you can get to see where you were, where you are, and where you potentially could be. I see massive value in that. It's really helpful.
Owen, hit that button real quick. 3 things you need, right, for success: content, coaching, and community. Okay. We could give you every single template, tool, resource, training that we've got, okay? that would not guarantee your success. There'd be a very small select few that would take the information and turn it into reality. But you need to have the coaching alongside it, because we've got 131 different strategies you can use. You need to know which one's going to pull the biggest lever right now to make the biggest difference in your business. Okay. So that's the coaching side of things, along with accountability to get it done. The last thing is community, right? It's always good, like Corey is saying, to be in and around people who are doing the same thing as you, either people that you can help and chat with around a similar level to you or earlier, and also to be around people that have been there, solved your next big challenge, and they might have just solved that recently. You can chat with them, see what they did, get some feedback on how they solved that challenge, right? All through networking with the community. So that's why we have Facebook group, the private communities, the online masterminding sessions to orchestrate, that key part of it.
Yeah, you want to be part of the rising tide that lifts all boats, rather than surrounding yourself with people that aren't going to lift you up and motivate you. And also, the industry is notoriously tight-lipped, right? There's very few other places where you can go and genuinely discuss your margins, your challenges, your hiring, your firing. Like, none of this will, not helpful, not applicable. Vagueness when you chat with somebody at the bar. This is in the meat and potatoes, the brass tacks, exactly how it's going to work, and you get to see from people, like Corey said, ahead of where you're at today, and where you have come from. It's incredibly inspiring, incredibly motivating. We actually just held our last summit last Friday. We had a panel discussion on price rises and material delays. If you want a replay of that panel discussion with Zane Beckett from ZB Homes, winner of Deloitte Fast 50, New Zealand's fastest growing company, 2017 or 18, and Chris Fairburn, one of the directors at Placemakers, Marty Amos, founder of Professional Builder, and Russell Clark, owner of Licensed Renovations, renovation expert here in Auckland, then all you need to do is drop replay down in the comments below and we'll get that to you.
But further ahead of us, so you can get to see where you were, where you are, and where you potentially could be. I see massive value in that. It's really helpful. Goals, is actually to have a really well-oiled machine, really. Systems and processes are huge for us, so that we can free up our time. Nikki talked about being in this, in the cloud and the software. Not stuff that I'm extremely good at it yet, but we work those extra hours to achieve that. And to have those systems and processes in place and build that great culture is going to free up our time in the future, give us a better quality of life. So that's why we do what we do.
Not only do we want to be successful ourselves, obviously, but we want the guys who work for us to be successful too. So not only, is our team, but in their personal lives as well. So if they're winning at work, then they're winning at home. So that again is huge for us. We want to grow, just keep our team growing and growing, continue with our niche of alterations and additions and stick to that, not be a jack of all trades, so we think that's really important to stick to what you're best at. Just keep growing, keep going, and enjoy the ride.
Wow.
So it's always a pleasure to rewatch those. So many good stories, and you hear from our members and what they've been up to and the challenges that they've had and overcome. It's pretty inspiring.
100%. So a couple of key takeaways that I had from Nikki and Corey's case study. So they started doing labor only, on the tools, relatively small company turnover wise, and their margins were reflective of that. Labor only, sometimes we joke around because it can be death by 1,000 paper cuts, and that's kind of true, it can be good consistent cash flow, but it's very difficult to grow. It's very difficult to create a lifestyle and a business that works for you rather than a busy job with overheads. So, by the book, maybe Nick and Corey were not in the perfect position to jump on the program. They, knew they had to, though. They had been part of coaching programs before. They wanted to adopt a growth mindset. They did that. They worked the plan, and they really come out the other side incredibly well. Kudos to them for putting in the hard work and for sticking to the plan and working the plan. My big takeaway is that you need to get your pipeline full. You need to have a minimum margin, okay? Corey was targeting 20%. He needed to stop doing certain things that had helped him get to where he was, but weren't going to help him get to where he wanted to be, which was a successful business owner rather than a successful builder. Okay, so he had to stop being on the tools, he had to stop being on site. They hired a team, okay, they trained them, and Corey was able to delegate, so he was able to elevate. He then filled his time with key margin, high margin activities that generated more cash flow and more profitability. That was focusing on their sales and marketing, their numbers and pricing, and their team and systems. So fantastic stuff. I'd love to hear what your main takeaway was. Drop it in the comments below. Okay, or give Nikki and Corey a big thumbs up and your favorite emoji in the comments below. Cam, what was your big takeaway? And I suppose then we'll wrap up for the peoples at home.
Yeah, 100%. You pretty much knocked a lot of them on the head there. I think the only other thing that we didn't really touch on was when they talked a lot about team. Okay, and big problem for a lot of people at the moment is can't hire good guys, or if I do, they're all about the money, and then they'll jump ship to the next person who pays the highest rate. So for them, there's a lot of key things that they spoke about. Looking after the team, taking them to social events, working with them on their personal goals as well as their work goals. If you look after your team and your team culture, more importantly, it's not about the hourly rate, right? If you're upskilling them, if you're giving them a good environment, doing work that's close to home, there's so many different things you can do in that team dynamic that doesn't involve a paycheck. And that's ultimately why a lot of people will stick around with you rather than jumping ship for a couple more dollars extra hour, So one thing we didn't touch on, I thought that was a really, really big takeaway from me. 100%.
And just to elaborate on that a little bit further, people that come to us who say they can't charge higher margins, or that their their customers compete on price, are the same people that have challenges retaining their staff. Okay, there is a correlation or causation. I'm not too sure just yet. Okay, but you're right. You have to compete on price when the only thing you talk about in your marketing is price. When you talk about your people, your process, your product, okay, you educate the prospect on why they should choose you over anybody else. Who are you? Who are your team? How can I trust you? And how can you help me specifically? And you satisfy those big concerns around timeline, budget, trustworthiness, quality, and communication. Then you're educating them on other variables other than price. You're introducing variables other than price, and you're educating them on why they shouldn't make a decision exclusively on price. The same principles apply when hiring guys. If you don't talk about your community, your culture, your career progression, okay, your accountability, your software, a day in the life, then you're 100% going to have to pay at or above market rate to attract the best people. Okay, but this is not a negotiation. This is a collaboration when you're trying to find good people, and we need to market and show why they should come and work for you so that you can position yourself as the employer of choice in your area, rather than just accepting that it's too hard out there and deciding to not try to solve the problem. This is a challenge that's not going away. You better solve the problem today, or in 2 years' time. It's entirely up to you.
Awesome, man. Love it. It's been really good breaking down one of those case studies. Let us know in the comments below, biggest takeaway, any props to Nikki and Corey, or if you found this helpful at all. It's one thing watching the case study. It's another thing going through and understanding why some of the things they've done are important. Okay, so thought we'd just share that gold behind the scenes with you. If you thought it was helpful, again, chuck that in the comment. We can do some more. And otherwise, here's to your success. We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.